right, let's speak now to Dr. Levy Ndou, political analyst, for more on that story. Dr. Ndou, good to have you on, and thank you very much for coming on. John Steenhuisen personally feeling tired of being disrespected, but not only that, disrespect to his party and other coalition partners. But one would say maybe not tired enough to leave the government of national unity because of the comforts of incumbency.
Greetings to you, Thabo. Greetings to the viewers at home. Yes, indeed. He could be tired or he could be getting frustrated. But I think there are few basics that appears not to be properly clarified. Those basics for me talks to how the government has been constituted and who are the people who are given certain responsibilities in government. Indeed, the President of the Republic has got certain powers given to him by the Constitution, and such powers are supposed to be applied. The establishment of the Government of National Unity has not said anything about amending the Constitution. So when you make an application, like it was done by Andrew Whitfield, it's either it is responded to positively or negatively. And what I expected the DA to really clarify or to deal with would have been the actions that, in my view, the DA had to take to their deployee who would also disrespect the President of the Republic by traveling without his approval. But quite interesting is that in the same press briefing, the Democratic Alliance still talk about issues that have been dealt with in the past rather than focusing on the mere factor or that is surrounding the deputy minister that has been expelled. And my sense is that maybe they should have developed a different approach in dealing with this matter, because they would be creating a perception that says that because they're in the GNU, their ministers can do as they like, and if action is taken, then they're going to come out crying. And that is exactly what could create instability in the GNU.
Dr. Ndou, let's stay with that a little bit, because I get a sense that this could be a challenge that is arising from, I don't know whether it is a poorly drafted statement of intent or a hurriedly signed statement of intent without both parties understanding what the implications are, where the ANC believes that, look, we're still leaders of the executive, and therefore, as the president can do whatever it is that he wants to do based on his prerogative and constitutionally, while the DA has an expectation that the president cannot do that. They are a very heavy partner in this executive that needs to be consulted on decisions that are a purview of the president.
It's quite interesting that the Democratic Alliance and then the spokesperson of the ANC speak differently about the GNU. Steenhuisen will put an emphasis that they are co-governing and they expect to be consulted on everything. Whilst the ANC says they invited other political parties to join the GNU in order to form a government. Even though we have got these two contradictory issues, the Constitution of the Republic has not been amended, and the President still has the powers to do as informed by the Constitution. And my view is that we still have time for both the ANC and all these other parties that are in the GNU to still sit down and be able to look at how they deal with situations similar to this one. But as much as the DA would not love to be disrespected, I think other parties would also not love to be disrespected as well. So it should be a two-way process in which all parties in the GNU are able to work together and appreciate each other.
The view that, well, now let's stop talking to the president, pull out of the national dialogue, but let's mobilize civil society against the president, the very civil society, by the way, that is going to be the driver of the national dialogue, because it's not a government-led initiative?
Well, I think the Democratic Alliance, as a political party, they've got all the rights to do so. They've got all the rights to mobilize people on anything. But at the end of the day, the very same Democratic Alliance should also be able to utilize their presence in Parliament for the purposes of lawmaking. Also quite interesting is that there is still a reference by the DA on the assignment by the president of the different transformative laws. And it appears to be indicating that there are certain wounds that have not as yet healed on the part of the Democratic Alliance, and that's why they keep on raising issues that some people will consider them to be in the past. My view is that part of having a dialogue or the initiation or initiative of having a dialogue is there for people or for all of us to be able to vent out our frustrations and propose issues that could take South Africa forward. And if the Democratic Alliance doesn't want to be part of that exercise, others can still be able to do so. But of course, you need a buy-in of all political parties, of all civil society organizations in order to move South Africa forward. And my view is that there could still be a possibility for the Democratic Alliance to reconsider their decision.
How much of this is about the issues that the Democratic is raising? I mean, how much of this is about the internal politics within the ANC? We know that not all members of the ANC are happy with the government of national unity. There are those who are not happy, for example, with particular appointments. And the appointment of Andrew Whitfield at DTI could be one of those. And I don't know what their relationship is with Park Stow there. That could have caused the president to say, well, let me relook this matter of February and use it in July to get you out.
It could be about influence. It could be about dominance and relevance. The Democratic Alliance is occupying a very difficult position. They aspire to lead government in the next few years. They are now in government, but they still have that nerve of being an opposition. And that is why they would find every little opportunity available to air their views in opposition to what the ANC and their leaders are doing. And it's another area that we still need to sit down and navigate as to whether indeed that will work for the Democratic Alliance or not, but also whether it is in the best interest of governance and stability to have political parties that would say things differently whilst they're a political party and whilst they're in government, so long as they benefit, they do not raise issues. So those are the issues that, in my view, a dialogue or a discussion within the GNU partners still has to happen. But having the GNU does not necessarily mean that political parties have to change their character. And I think that is one other issue that the DA is quite cautious about, because some parties could easily lose their relevance by mere participating in government because they could easily forget their own mandate because of the responsibilities that they have in government. So the Democratic Alliance appears to be trying its best to create a balance between being a political party and being in government. And where they're not happy, they're able to express their views openly.
What do you make then of the expressed view of the DA that part of the reason why Andrew Whitfield would have been sacked is because he would have raised some serious concerns around the transformation fund and how that fund is going to be looted?
It is quite unfortunate that you would not have some of the details coming out. It was also interesting that the leader of the DA knew about the application and the transgression over a period of 3 months, and is worried that action has been taken now. But my view is that if there are issues of wrongdoing, there is nothing wrong that MPs, even cabinet ministers, should raise, because that is exactly what they should do. They should fight against corruption. They should ensure that corruption does not take place. But at the same time, there are rules and regulations that are known. When you are in cabinet, you don't travel outside the republic without the approval of the president. That is what we know. That is what the DA is aware. And those are the rules that we have in the Republic of South Africa.
What's the implication then of, as you put it, the DA, in one instance, they are cabinet ministers. On the other end, they are members of the Democratic Alliance when they're in the National Assembly. Now you're going to have cabinet ministers voting against departmental budgets of their colleagues, particularly those that they mentioned they wanted sacked, the three. Yet they have to then go and sit together in cabinet and work as a collective.
It might, in the short term, work for the Democratic Alliance, because the intention here is clear, is to ensure that they frustrate those departments. But I think it's also important for the DA to be aware that they also have ministers who still will have their budgets approved by Parliament. If other parties do the same, then we are creating instability in government. My view is that some of the issues that the GNU partners have to deal with are issues that relate to how they communicate their messages in public. Because I don't expect a situation where people who refer to themselves as working together, having to come out to the public on a regular basis, bashing each other. That does not put the government in a very, very good light. And I think that it's something that they need to sit down and discuss, and indeed discourage each other from doing so. But also, putting a gun onto other political parties in public, or constant complaints by other coalition partners, has a potential to create an impression that we are always going to hear them complaining, but they will continuously stay in government because they also benefit whilst they are in government.
Dr. Levy Ndou, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for coming on. Political analyst there, Dr. Levy Ndou, on the latest announcement by the Democratic Alliance pulling out of the national dialogue. When the Newsfeed PM continues.